Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, and welcome back to another episode of Strength and Conditioning for this month. My name is Sam. If you don't know already, I'm the pain and performance expert here at Sheffield Sports Medicine. And today's topic, if you haven't seen already, is how does strength and conditioning prevent common injuries? And it's a very good topic because ultimately, strength and conditioning is not just there to obviously help performance and help you get that extra 1%. But it's also there to help you prevent injuries, which will stop you in the future from one, performing, but two, making progress as well. Okay, so before we have a look at preventing injuries, we've got to have a look at what really prevention means. Okay, and when we look at preventing injuries, basically we're trying to make an athlete or someone robust as possible, so that no matter what their physical sport or their physical activity throws at them, their body is strong enough, flexible enough, stable enough to support that load and be able to take on any challenge without breaking down or giving in. Okay, so first of all, with prevention, you've got to look at, well, one, what does their sport challenge or demand? Okay, that's really important. So for example, runners, they're on their feet a lot. Okay, their demand is a lot of lower body work. Okay, the upper body is there to be stable and stabilize. So don't get wrong, core is important, but a lot of their load is going through their lower body, and a lot looking at range and strength and how that's important for preventing injuries. But ultimately, you will also need strength to support the joint if your sport is a high load sport. So you're lifting heavy weights or you've got a heavy load all the time. You need to be able to support that load probably over a long period of time. If not a long period of time, it'll be more of an explosive movement. So yet again, strength comes into that really massively. Okay, so it's really important that you make yourself strong and robust in all the ranges, especially the ranges that you're going to be using for your sport or your activities. Okay, so that's in a nutshell basically how does it prevent common injuries. Now the next part of this question is, what is common injuries? All right, and it's a very good question because we get a wide variety of injuries, but I think when people relate to common injuries, they're looking at basically chronic pain probably, or either chronic pain or muscle strains. Okay, so you do something for a long period of time, your knee starts hurting. That's very common. Or you run, twist your ankle, and then you sprain something and you get pain. Okay, so these are the things I'd class as common injuries, and these are things where you just need to look at how you can prevent that. So, for example, how can you prevent ankles instability? Well, you just practice your stability of your ankle. Get on something uneven. How long can you hold it for? Add a stimulus. Those kind of things. Okay, really important. So yeah, it's just a case of having a look at your athletes, having a look at your sport. What do they require? If something does happen in terms of, you twist, you land funny, your body's actually used to that and it can take that load and off you go, you're absolutely fine. Okay. Next question, is it important to do strength and conditioning as a runner? Absolutely, 100%. So elite runner, yeah, definitely need it about 3 times a week at least for strength and conditioning. Amateur, maybe 1 or 2. But it's really, really important because, like I just mentioned, a lot of the strength conditioning for runners will be prevention, a lot of prevention, because you want to make sure that you don't overload because you're going to be increasing your mileage. So are you going to keep loading, and eventually get chronic pain, something giving in, or is it going to be a case of looking at ankle stability so you don't fall all the time, don't trip all the time? All right, so strength and conditioning as a runner is super important, highly recommend it. Every runner that comes in here, always do strength and conditioning with them, or at least see where they're at, because it is vital. What is the hardest strength and conditioning exercise? Okay, this is quite a good question because obviously it comes down to personal opinion. But for me, when I look at exercises that are tough, I would say the snatch. So it's an Olympic lift. So all the Olympic lifts are pretty difficult, clean, jerk, snatch. But the snatch is the hardest because it requires a lot of power, requires a lot of strength, requires a lot of stability, and more importantly, technique. So it's a really, really tough one. I'd say that's the hardest strength